Hello, everybody. Welcome to the MTG Place podcast, your place for all things magic. With me today is Josh. How's it going, Josh?
What's up, everybody?
Before we jump into the main topic and everything, we have a couple sponsors to plug. So we got sponsored today by Ironguard Supplies. We love their sleeves, top loaders, accessories. You can get 20% off using coupon code MTG Place at ironguardsupplies.com. So please do that.
Yeah, today.
Also, I want to shout out to the professor.
Hell
Congrats
yeah.
on 1 million subscribers
Yep.
on YouTube. First Magic creator to do that. It's kind of cool.
That's pretty amazing. Well, today, we're just going to be talking about the rares from the set. We're still continuing up MH3. So now we're going to be talking about the multicolored, the devoid cards, and the lands. We'll mostly be judging these off of like a commander lens, but also keeping limited in mind. And we play some legacy and some cube. But yeah. We'll just start off with Genku, where we left off. Future Shaper. 2 white and a blue for a legendary Moonfolk Wizard. 2/5. Whenever another non-token permanent you control leaves the battlefield, choose one that hasn't been chosen this turn. Create a creature token with these characteristics. Either a 2/2 white fox, a 1/2 blue Moonfolk with flying, and a 1/1 black rat with lifelink. You can pay 3 white blue, put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control. So it's a flicker type thing if you're playing commander, which doesn't seem like super strong, but like in limited, it just modifies your creatures with that +1/+1 counter. Seems pretty insane.
Yeah, I mean, it seems pretty good. The Moonfolk is weird. I was like, why isn't it just Merfolk? But I guess it's a Moonfolk.
It's a callback. There's been some Moonfolks before. They usually mess with lands and leaving the battlefield and stuff.
I mean, it's not bad. Like I think this is better than the 99 of a commander deck that already flickers.
Yes.
I don't think playing this as a commander is that strong.
Yeah. Maybe some infinite mana outlet just to make your creatures infinitely buff. Seems pretty good. You're already in blue.
Yeah, so you have all the blue ways to make infinite mana.
Mm-hmm. I would focus on that more as the commander than the flickering part.
Right. I mean, having Vigilance, Flying, and Lifelink's pretty good.
Yeah, whichever one you need to choose.
Well, you can get all 3 if you flicker 3 times. That's not bad.
Do some unicorn horse shenanigans.
Can you, if you can instant speed, you could do it on your opponent's turn as well.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Could be good, but yeah, I think it's better than the 99 or doing the infinite mana thing.
Yep.
Next up, we got Psychic Frog. It is 1 and a black for a 1/2 frog. When it deals combat damage to a player or planeswalker, you draw a card. Then you can discard a card, put a +1 counter on it, and exile 3 cards from your graveyard. Psychic Frog gains flying until your turn.
Yeah, a lot of people have been talking about this card. It seems really good.
It's really good for a 2-drop, right? Like,
yeah,
just like it's like as good as a Thieving Magpie. Like, Thieving Magpie has 3.
Mm-hmm.
This costs 2, and you can draw some cards. Plus, you can pitch cards, which is a good discard outlet.
Mm-hmm.
Especially for like Reanimator stuff and Cube.
Yeah. I'm thinking about like Vintage Cube. They've been taking out all of those instant speed discard cards because that's all like Putrid did. That's all he did was doing this. This is lots of other stuff happening while being an instant discard outlet. So you can
Plus, you could be like pitch 3 cards, make this a 3/4 or a 4/5, whatever it is.
With flying.
And then with flying, like, and then draw a card? What?
Yeah. On turn 3. And they're counters, too, which is just nuts. It's not until end of turn +1/+1.
Yeah, they stay forever.
That's insane.
I mean, it is a blowout if you, like, pitch some card and then they just kill it.
But. Yeah. Yep. That is the risk. That's why you normally don't want to like go all in like that. Is discard all those cards and then give it flying. I don't know. I'm trying to think like they could. You wait until the damage phase to discard those cards to buff it up, but then in response they can still kill it, so you still will get blown out.
Mm-hmm.
It's all kind of bad there, but still.
Yeah, so I mean, if you're playing against this, you probably just want to see if they're going to pump it, and if not, you might just be like, "All right, I take the one."
Yeah, let them draw.
But then if they pump it, you could just get them in response.
Seems really good though. All right, move on to Imsker Iron Eater. 6 black red for an 8-drop, 5/5 legendary demon. He has an infinity for artifacts. Then when it enters the battlefield, you draw X cards and you lose X life, where X is half the number of artifacts you control, rounded down. Then you can activate an ability, 3 in a red, sacrifice any artifact. Iskimir deals damage equal to the sacrificed artifact's mana value to any target. Seems pretty good.
Good in the artifact deck. You play it for
Yeah,
2.
of course. Artifacts are normally not black red, though.
No, it's usually like red blue or something. Sometimes red white now.
But there has been some like black artifacts. Now I'm thinking like Wishclaw Talisman is definitely one.
Mm-hmm. I mean, you can play this as your commander for a deck that you're
Yeah.
black red artifacts.
Just tossing artifacts.
I guess the what is it? The Warhammer deck is mono black artifacts.
Yes, that's right. That was
So
a
there's
lot
of cards
of
in
good
there.
stuff. That was a lot of good stuff. Plus, you make like a lot of like artifact tokens somehow. Then you draw like a bunch of cards on that ETB.
Mm-hmm.
ETBs too you can reanimate them, so like those would still work. Seems good. It's just the high cost, and like we'll just have to see it played.
Yeah, seems pretty good though. Next up, we got Roshin, the Roaring Prophet. 2 green red for a 4/4 legendary creature, Giant Shaman. When it enters the battlefield, you mill 6 cards. You may put a card with X in its mana cost from among them into your hand. And you can tap it, reveal card any number of cards with X in their mana cost in your hand, add 2 colorless mana. For each card revealed this way, spend this mana only to cast spells that contain X.
Yes.
So X spell matters deck. The other one is not red though, right? The other commander.
Roshin, it's both. It's red green.
Well, this one, but like, what's the other one? Zaxara.
Oh,
One that already
Zaxara.
exists.
Okay,
That's not red,
sure.
right?
No, that's blue, black, green.
So this is just another option for X matters deck.
Yes,
Gives you access to the red X burn spells.
There's been a Roshin before, which it's like a 4-drop and it can tap for 4, but you can only spend that on X, which that's Roshin calling back. But it's kind of like Metalworker, where you reveal the number of cards in your hand.
Yeah.
It's pretty hilarious. I just don't know how well that's going to work out, because with like Metalworker, you kind of dump all those artifacts right after. Like you can't, with X spells, you just do one giant X spell. No, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, you reveal your hand. So if you have 5 X spells, I mean, you have to play a deck of almost all X spells for this to work. And you like reveal 5, and then like you play X as 10, and then the next turn you draw and hope you draw another one and just do it again with a different spell.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, there's even like Fireball's a good example, or like Smatter or Skull Smashing. What is that land? Shatter Skull Smashing?
Yeah, that's both sides. I mean, you could obviously play like all the Hydra creatures too. So
yes, yeah.
You can still have a decent balance of cards. I think your removal spells are going to be where it's hard. I mean, I guess you could use like Bifrost or something for enchantment.
Yeah,
artifact hate. I don't know. This might be a thing where you just play every single card in your deck has X cost. I think it's possible.
Yeah, We'll see how good that is. Probably not, but like Zexara's ways out is like creating infinite mana because it can combo with Freed from the Real.
Yeah, I mean, this is obviously more of a not broke as broken one.
No, yeah, this is huge casual.
Yeah.
All right, we'll move on to Kudo, King Among Bears. White, green for legendary bear, 2/2. Other creatures have base power and toughness 2/2 and are bears in addition to their other types.
Well, now if you
Seems
want
like
a white green bear deck instead of just a green bear deck.
this seems like a pretty good hate bear, pun intended, because it creates your opponents as 2/2s.
Mm-hmm.
And like, do you just throw out a coat of arms? Holy crap! Even it counts your opponents. They're all bears.
Yeah.
It's all
But it
bears.
goes for them too, though, with coat of arms.
That's true, but you should win off of your coat of arms. Never play out a coat of arms and not think about winning. I would never do that. But this seems like it can have some wonky stuff going on. It's basically like humility.
Yeah, I mean, this can't go unless you're playing 3 colors in the 99, but there's that black card that can give all creature of a specific type -3/-3. Where you just kill everything.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Yep, seems fun. I honestly love it.
I think it's okay. I'm trying to think of what you would do other than like that thing though, making your opponents 2/2s. I mean, you just play a bunch of 1/1 unblockables and you just have 2/2 unblockables.
Yeah, if you have the bigger army, you already have. They're all 2/2s, so.
Yeah. You just play a bunch of stuff that makes tokens.
Mm-hmm. Bunch of tokens. There's like cards that care about what is that Delaney, that new one? Creatures with power 2 or less that trigger twice or something.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
There's like some it's a blue card, but like creatures with power 2 or less are unblockable. Some mess around with that.
Next up, we got Invert Polarity. Blue, blue, red. Instant. Choose target spell, then flip a coin. If you win the flip, gain control of that spell, and you may choose new targets for it. If you lose the flip, counter it. So, play it on your opponent's thing. Possibility that you get 2 of them. Otherwise, you counter it.
Oh, you just get that spell. You don't get 2 of them.
Oh, why did I think it said copy it? Okay, so gain control of it, choose new target. Yep. Oh, got you.
Yep.
So you either get that spell or you counter it.
Yeah. First limited experience I did with this, I got blown out. I played my 5/5 or 5-drop 6/6 flying demon, and he took control of it. I can't kill that. Absolutely blown out. So,
that's funny.
Commander, you got a lot of free counter spells. You don't even play normal counter spell. Rarely. I do have it in a couple decks, but like 3 extra mana, or well, 3 mana total. It's kind of a lot, but the effect is strong.
I mean, at worst, it's a cancel.
Yeah, like at worst, you're going to counter it.
Mm-hmm.
But gaining control of like a commander is like
an awesome spell.
Yeah, but I was saying like commanders, like especially like normally when you kill a commander, they go back to the command zone and then they can recast it. But if you control the commander, they have to do something about it. They can't be like, oh, I get to put it back in the command zone. Like,
so it seems good against that. It also seems good like someone goes to blow up your thing. You're like, all right, do this. And then use the possibility you blow up their thing instead. Like,
yeah. That's at the bare minimum, yeah. But is it worth 3 mana?
If you're in blue-red, maybe.
I would like to try it out.
It is all 3 specific pips, so you have to have 2 blues and a red.
Yeah, that hurts a lot. It's very color.
I mean, with fixing nowadays, it's not that hard.
Commander, yeah, you got that in Commander. All right, we'll see it in the battlefield. We'll move on to the White of the Reliquary. Black-green for a 2/2 zombie knight with vigilance. White of the Reliquary gets +1/+1 for each creature card in your graveyard, and they can sacrifice another creature, search your library for a land card, put it onto the battlefield tapped, then shuffle. This is a callback, of course, but this time it puts the land onto the battlefield tapped. Knight of the Reliquary put it on untapped, which was kind of crazy.
Yeah, and it got buffed for land cards in your graveyard where it's just creature cards and you're sacking creatures.
A little weird because you're trying to do land synergy. I mean, it tutors for lands. So you're going to grab like your Dark Depths or some sort of land combo. But then it cares about creatures, which is just odd.
Yeah.
It's a sacrifice outlet, which is nice in creatures. So maybe you don't like go full and you're not playing this in your land combo deck. You're just playing this in a creature graveyard deck, and like someone tries to kill off a creature, you just sack in, search your land library for a land.
Yeah,
Cool.
it's a decent sack outlet for lands, I think. And then it could just be big. Like if you have like 5 creatures in the graveyard, it's like a 7/7 for 2.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, it's always going to be open for that tap because it's vigilance. You'll be able to attack in, hold up that sacrifice outlet for whenever you need to.
yeah, it seems pretty good. I mean, I don't know if it's great, but it's good.
Yeah. That's the thing. Don't know if it's great.
It's just like, okay, it's there. You can play it if you want.
Card.
Next up, we got Flage, Titan of Fire's Fury. It is 1 red and a white for a 6/6 legendary creature, Elder Giant. When it enters the battlefield, you sacrifice it unless it escaped, just like all the other Elder Giants.
Mm-hmm.
When it enters the battlefield or attacks, it deals 3 damage to any target. You gain 3 life, so like Lightning Helix. And then you can escape it for red, red, white, white, and 5 other cards in your graveyard.
Yeah. This seems really good. All the Elder Giants are good. Krovax, I think was his name. Uro is played everywhere.
Kroxa, yeah.
Kroxa, yep.
Yeah. And Uro.
Yep, Uro's insane.
Are there any other ones?
Not playable ones.
Yeah, those are the best 2.
But this seems very playable. Dealing 3 damage to any target, so it can go face, gain 3 life, which is nice. And just playing like sort of cantrips. That's why Uro's really good. He's in blue, so you play like cantrips and you can escape with it pretty easily. Being red white, being escape is kind of a little rough, but if you're like in a burn type deck, I can see it being played. I mean, it's already, the set's been out for a few days now, and this card's like over $20. So people have been liking it.
Yeah, I think it's good. Is it better than Kroxa? Probably.
Yeah, any target is pretty huge, so you can actually deal with the board. Kroxa was discard outlet, and it would have them lose life.
I still think Uro is better than this one, but
yeah, I hear that because it's in blue, as I pointed out before.
Yeah,
you actually have those cantrips and fill up that graveyard pretty easily.
But it's pretty solid.
Yes.
I think it's definitely like people have been trying to play some like red white burn decks.
Mm-hmm.
You definitely play this and that, and then also like a Lightning Helix and all your other burn spells.
Yeah, if you already play Lightning Helix, would just having it cost 1 more extra mana for having it a possibility to be escapable and having a 6/6 that can...
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you do it because like you probably could just get away with running 4 Shocklands and then the 4 fetches and just playing 4 of these, and like it'll be like having 8 Lightning Helixes in your deck, and then occasionally when you have the double white, you can bring it back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, powerful. We're going to move on to Nadu, Winged Wisdom. For 1 green blue, 3/4 legendary bird wizard with flying. As creatures you control, keyword creatures, have, whenever this creature becomes the target of a spell or ability, reveal the top card of your library. If it's a land card, put it onto the battlefield. Otherwise, put it into your hand. This ability triggers only twice each turn. So no matter what you're drawing the card, or if it's a land, you just get to put it out on the battlefield untapped. They tried fixing this card with this ability triggers only twice each turn, but it's creatures, so each creature can trigger twice. Insane. Yeah, I'm personally, I think I'm going to build this deck. I know it's going to be my fourth Simic deck, but this card seems
I
insane.
mean, yeah, and if you have something that targets it yourself, you're just going to keep doing that,
Hmm.
ramping.
So Lightning Greaves is a 0 activated ability that can target your creatures over and over wherever. So if you have 2 creatures, you put it on Nadu, that's draw a card or ramping. Then put it on your other creature, draw another card or ramp. Put it back on Nadu, draw, and that's 4 draw cards in one
Mm.
turn cycle. That's pretty insane. Off of Lightning Greaves, which you're automatically running. There's another artifact equipment called Shuko. It's from Kamigawa. It's a 1-drop and has a 0 equip. They get +1 attack. Doesn't matter. We care about the 0 equip. And that can be fetched off of an Urza's Saga. So
Mm.
even
Well,
more
that's
consistency.
probably why Shuko just jumped up in
Oh,
price
yeah.
too.
That's exactly. Yep. Yeah. Because of Nadu. You know, it seems insane. Like drawing 4 cards at least at every turn cycle.
Yeah, it seems
That's a
good. If
lot.
you have an instant way to target it too, you can do it on other people's turns.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. If you have like a displacer kitten and just flip the Nadu every time you cast something, that resets all of your creatures with this ability to trigger twice again.
It's ridiculous.
It seems that's a lot of card draw.
Draw your deck, play. What's
Mm-hmm.
the fastest Oracle win the
That's
game?
Oracle. Yep.
Right?
Yep. Yeah. You play this with like Hullbreaker Horror, and you can flip your artifacts, make infinite mana type
Mm.
things, but then that means you can flip Nadu and re-trigger all of your things, draw your whole deck somehow. I'm going to try it out.
Oh no, we broke another Simic card.
Oh.
Next up, we got Arna Kennerud, Sky Captain. 2 white, blue, black for a 4/4 legendary creature human knight with flying and lifelink. It has ward, discard a card. Whenever a modified creature you control attacks, double the number of each kind of counter on it. Then for each non-token permanent attached to it, create a token that's a copy of that permanent attached to that creature.
So that's like auras. You get a copy auras.
Yeah. And if it's 1/1 counters, you double it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Doubling we've kind of seen before, but like doubling on your auras is pretty insane.
Yeah.
Or
Well, it's
even wait,
non-token permanent. It works for equipment too.
that's
Copy your
crazy.
equipment.
It's already has the evasion. It's got flying and life things. So when you're playing like auras and equipment, you're usually going to go for commander damage.
Yeah.
And it's got the evasion, so all you need is the pump spells.
It's pretty
Pretty sure
good.
there was like a +10/+10 in Fallout that's in blue that you can copy and make this a 24/24 automatic kill with just that one card.
That's nuts. Well, I mean, it just like sort of feast and famine on this thing. Like
Mm-hmm.
just in between the triggers, tapping all of your mana and playing something could be nuts.
Mm-hmm. It's on whenever you attack too with the swords. So you get the second sword, and then you get both triggers. Are swords
Hmm.
legendary?
I don't think so. The new ones might be. I don't think the old ones are.
They are not. Let's
Yeah,
go. Let's go.
yeah, that's what I was saying. It's like you just copy all the swords.
Yeah. And then you get twice that trigger
Yep.
because they're on deals damage. It's got the evasion. The flying's huge on this.
Yeah, I think I would play it as the equipment
Hmm.
version and copy a bunch of stuff because you have white for all of the equipment costs 0 to equip.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, we
black.
also have blue and black for control stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, good colors to be in. You're just missing green auras, but like I said, like Fallout made a good blue 10-10 one. Like I'm sure there's plenty. White's got all of them. All right, we'll move on to the Necrobloom. 1 white, black, green for a 2/7 legendary plant. It's got landfall. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, create a 0/1 green plant creature token. If you control 7 or more lands with different names, create a 2/2 black zombie creature token instead. And lands in your graveyard have Dredge 2. So I've read that line before. Field of the Dead.
Oh, yeah. So it's Field of the Dead on landfall.
Mm-hmm.
Except if you make a 0/1.
Unless you control 7 or more lands with different names,
Then
which
it's
is
Field of the Dead.
Field of the Dead. Yeah, yeah.
And land cards have Dredge 2. Interesting. So you can bring the lands back.
Yep. Bring your Thespian stages back. Bring your fetch lands
There's a
back.
Formula 2/7. That's interesting.
Yeah, that's a type line you don't really see. Seems pretty good in the land deck.
Do you play an all lands deck with this?
Yeah, as the commander.
Could.
Yeah. In commander though, like Dark Depths isn't that good. Like I keep saying, just making a big dumb body isn't the strongest thing you can be doing.
Right.
But being able to have Field of the Dead in the command zone,
you'd probably play some other support cards for lands as well.
yeah, I don't think you do Dark Depths. You're supposed to do like giant landfall things, like ramp as much as you can and make as many 2/2 zombies as you can.
Yeah.
Open the Warrens, is that what I'm thinking of? The one that creates all the forest dryads. There's a couple big flashy ramp spells that you can do. Landfall
Right.
one.
I'm just thinking of all the lands you could use with Dread, like the one that's like they can't attack you.
Okay. Yeah.
Or you can't put the land. What is that land? It's
Yeah.
upkeep.
Yeah. Cumulative upkeep. Oh, that would be hilarious.
But you just like let it die to a sack trigger and then just dredge it back.
That's dumb. That's so dumb. Glacial Chasm?
Yeah, Glacial Chasm, yeah.
Jeez. That card's colorless, yeah.
Yeah, so that would be sweet with this.
Oh, no, not a Turbo Fog tech.
You don't even need a turbo fog. You just have good lands. That you have cards that search for any land and put it in your hand.
Ugh.
Put Positron too. If you want it. I don't know. I'm starting to think of like just lands and like maybe you just win with only the 2/2s and don't even bother with having other creatures.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure.
That's to see how many support cards there is. Maybe you'd end up playing other stuff too, but
could have a little bit of a graveyard sub.
I mean, like Tabernacle.
Yeah, if you can afford that. No one can afford that.
Well, if you have one. I mean, if you play lands with Legacy, you probably have one.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
So
I don't know, like a 4-drop though in Legacy. Do we really want to play that?
Well, no, you're not going to play as Legacy, but I'm like, this could be your commander if you play lands with Legacy. Like,
I guess, yeah, if you own it.
Want to pivot to commander and have one.
All right, you're going to get a lot of moans and groans if you play Tabernacle in a commander pod. Like, really?
I mean, is it any worse than Glacial Chasm?
No, it's the price tag. It's the price tag.
Next up, we got Null Drifter. 7 mana, 4/4 creature, Eldrazi Elemental. When you cast a spell, draw 2 cards. Has Flying, Annihilator 1, and Evoke for 2 and a blue.
Hey, Molly D's back.
Yeah, except for it has Annihilator 1.
In style. Yeah, I think well, Bull Drifter is good because you get to flicker it and draw more cards, but on
Yeah.
the opposite side on this one, if you evoke it and flicker it, you get a 4/4 flying with Annihilator 1 as your upside.
Mm.
It's kind of insane.
Yeah. It's really good and limited because you just get the 7 and you draw 2 and then a 4/4 Annihilator 1 with 1.
Sure. Yep. Yep. Yeah, I think this
But yeah,
might.
you can use it whenever you use a Mole Drifter, unless you're doing the Flicker deck, then you probably want the other one. But
Yeah.
I mean, it
Mulder.
still works in it. You could play both. This you just only get the other part on cast.
Yeah.
So you wouldn't get 4
No.
cards. You just get the 2 and then keep a creature.
Just not sure where it would fall in line as a home. Like Muldrifter is played heavily in Pauper. It's a common. This is a rare.
Right.
So I don't know. We'll have to see, I guess, how it shapes out.
Well, if your deck wants 2 of those effects, there you go.
All right, now we'll move on to Ugin's Binding, card people have been talking about. 2 and a blue for an instant devoid spell. It's got return target non-land permanent you don't control to its owner's hand. Whenever you cast a colorless spell with mana value 7 or greater, you may exile Ugin's Binding from your graveyard. When you do, return each non-land permanent you don't control to owner's hand. Where have I read that before? Oh yeah, Cyclonic Rift for free? Huh?
I mean, you have to used it first, but yeah.
Yeah. You have to get this in the graveyard, which you can self-mill.
But yeah, so twice already, just in the Modern Horizons like limited environment, I've cast this, bounced their
Yep.
thing, and
Yep.
then on like turn 8, I play that uncommon like breaker of whatever that is like
Double
an 8.
colorless.
Yeah, the 8 mana that gains you like 8 life, and it's like an 8/4 Annihilator or whatever. But that
Yeah.
triggers this, and I just bounce their whole board, and then they just scoop on the spot.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
like a free Cyclonic Rift when you play something big is ridiculous.
Ridiculous. Yep. So yeah, that's why people are freaking out. I don't think it's that strong. Like, yes, in the limited environment, you're going to have those colorless spells with mana value 7 or greater, but when are you playing those in like Commander, where everyone's
Well,
like,
if you're playing a colorless deck, you probably are. Like if you're playing
yes,
this, you probably are. But
yeah, it's not going to be as ubiquitous as like, oh, I can just slot this Cyclonic Rift into my deck. Like, no, you need
no, most of the time it's a 3
colorless.
mana bounce spell that if you draw Ugin or something later in the game, you just win.
Mm-hmm. So I love that it's buffing unplayed Commander things. Like, no one really plays colorless spells with mana value 7 or greater unless they're like cheating it out and stuff. This you got to cast.
I mean,
So
I don't know. Ugin sees play
mhm,
occasionally. Not a lot
mhm,
anymore, I guess, because it got 7. But
yeah,
Ugin and like Kozilek. But yeah, usually you cheat them out. But here you'd have to
mhm.
just cast it. I don't know.
So we'll see. I think people
If
are
you have a way to ramp, I think it's good.
yeah,
For me, the Timmy and me loves this card because I
yeah,
usually just card cast everything,
yeah.
but like make it cost less, and then it still triggers this. So like
I
you can
think
play
it's
that.
overhyped.
What's the green blue deck where you cast CMC 6 or greater all the time, and then you just it's like
Mhm.
partners. I built that. That deck's fun.
Yep,
You could put
yep.
this in there.
Cascade.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be good, but I still think it's overhyped.
Next up, we got Eldrazi Linebreaker. It is 1, a colorless, and a red for a 3/3 creature Eldrazi. That's devoid, obviously. Trample. At the beginning of combat on your turn, target creature you control gains haste and +X/+O, where X is the number of Eldrazi you control. So Eldrazi Typal, Eldrazi Kindred, whatever you call it.
Mm-hmm.
What? How many Eldrazi do you have to have before this is really good? Is it good by itself? You can give it
I'd
self.
it
Update the
gains
4/3 trample haste.
it gives your any new creature you play haste because it
Hmm.
counts itself. So you don't really care about the plus X, plus O. I think that's where it's really going to shine. You just have to make sure you have that colorless
Yeah,
pip
like
being
that
able.
has to be from a waste or a colorless source.
Yep. And Commander, you got that soul ring, but you need a
Yeah.
little bit more than just that to be able to cast this normally. So I don't know. That's a little tough in Commander. I do like it as giving your red cards haste, giving your like a Tali haste for attack triggers, but might be a little narrow. Like you really need to focus on that colorless. I like this in the limited draft environment where like it gives you a good payoff for drafting those colorless lands because
Mm.
you only get basic
I mean,
color.
you can turn to this in like a red deck
Mm-hmm.
because you just red Sol Ring next turn, tap the red in the Sol Ring.
Yeah, yeah, but you need more than just the solar. Yeah, that's magical Christmas land for sure.
Yeah, in your deck, you're saying, yeah.
Yeah, you need more ways to get colorless than just a soul ring. Yeah, you could, but consistently.
Yeah, you're probably playing some waste and some other cards
Mhm.
that need waste then
So it
too.
needs to be like that Eldrazi deck. I'm feeling like you don't really put a lot of colorless mana things in your deck naturally.
I mean,
So
if you play Reliquary Tower, doesn't that tap for a colorless? That would
yep,
work.
yep.
So yeah, you probably have to have a handful of cards that do that before you'd consider it.
But then that's also hurting your deck of colorless lands when you're trying to cast your red spells.
Mm.
You need to really build this around this. And is it worth that? Maybe if you're in Eldrazi. We'll have to see the deck building process. See. We'll move on to Huragast, Erupting Nullkite for a 9 mana 6/6 legendary Eldrazi dragon. It's got Emerge, 6 red red. You may cast this spell by sacrificing a creature and paying the Emerge cost reduced to that creature's mana value. And then when you cast this spell, you may exile your hand. If you do, draw 3 cards. That's nice. It's got flying, but then each creature spell you cast has a merge. The merge cost is equal to its mana cost. That's nuts.
So you can basically play other spells by sacking stuff.
Yeah, so if you can
Thanks.
emerge this out earlier, like maybe you have, what is that, 3-drop rock that taps for 3. Basalt Monolith.
Mm-hmm.
You can emerge, you tap the Basalt Monolith, emerge it, so then you have that 6 colorless. Just for 2 red, you get this Huragast, Erupting Nelkite out, and then you emerge this Huragast for 9. Just for 2 extra mana, you get to play like a Kozilek
Yeah.
off of that. So that's like a turn 4, turn 5 Kozilek.
Yeah. It's pretty crazy.
It seems insane. If you can get that like combo going.
Yeah. That's
Other than
pretty good.
that, just being able to get this out pretty early with that emerge, draw 3 cards, flying 6/6.
Yeah, I mean, if you get it out early, you're probably not going to draw the 3 cards, but
True, true.
unless I mean you're down to like under 3 cards in your hand, or your hand's bad.
Mm. Mm. I don't know. It seems really fun to mess with, but probably won't
It
make it
seems
into a.
okay. I'm trying to think of if it's worth playing in like a Dragon deck or not, just to give stuff emerge.
Mm-hmm. Erdrick is just so color intensive, or is it 2 and then the color?
For what?
What's Erdrick's mana cost, mana value?
It's like 9.
Yeah, but is each pip you got to pay the pips, right? Yeah, you
Yeah,
do.
it's one of every color and 4.
Yeah, I was thinking of like the Scarecrow, Scarecrow King.
Uh,
He's like 2 slash
yeah.
what? 2 slash. So I was like, could just colorless? But no.
No, but like, I mean, this, like, so in Dragon, it's
Mm-hmm.
already reduced by 1, so it's 8.
Mm-hmm.
And you can, well, 7 actually, because I think that reduces the merge too. and then you have. So if you sack a dragon to play this, you can cast other dragons for cheaper.
Hmm.
I don't know. It's interesting. It's worth considering. You'd have to try it out though.
Yes, yeah, yeah. I think it's not going to be made into most decks because people aren't going to really understand. But I think in the right home, this is going to be crazy card.
I mean, you can play this as a commander and just play
Hmm.
mono red and colorless cards.
Get that early Kozilek out. Let's go.
Yeah. Next up, we have the Sowing Myco Spawn. 3 and a green for a 3/3 devoid with kicker, 1 and a colorless. When you cast this spell, search your library for a land card, put it onto the battlefield, and shuffle. And when you cast this spell, if it was kicked, exile target land. So you can hose your opponent's land and you get a land.
Yeah, I like how it can search for any land.
Yep. I'm going to get rid of your Cradle.
Hmm.
And I'm going to search up my card.
That's
Or I'm going
true.
to get rid of your Cabal Coffers and search up my Cradle.
Yeah, that's true. Is it worth 4 mana to find Cradle? Kind of.
I mean, it's a 4 mana 3/3, so it's not like you're getting 3/3 with the stats as well as whatever land.
Yeah.
So then it's like you're playing a 3 mana 3/3 because like you could for 1 mana search for any land, put it in your hand anyways.
It's cast spell too, so you can't flicker it. I don't know.
It's okay.
Yeah. Yeah, it's okay. We'll leave it at that, I guess. Next up is the Thief of Existence. 1 colorless and a greens for a 3-drop, 3/4 Eldrazi with Devoid. When you cast this spell, exile up to 1 target non-creature, non-permanent, and opponent controls with mana value 4 or less. If you do, Thief of Existence gains when this creature leaves the battlefield, target opponent draws a card. Eating something up is nice.
So you get to
Reminds
exile something.
Yeah.
Has to be a non-creature, non-land though.
Non-creature
Basically,
part hurts.
artifact or enchantment most of the time.
Yeah. Non-creature hurts a lot.
Otherwise, it's just a 3 mana 3/4.
It eats up those do you pay the one
Yeah,
type
Ristic
cards.
Study.
um
They still get another card when they kill this though.
yeah, which kind of hurts. I don't know. You also, it's that same thing as the last Eldrazi we saw with the colorless part. Like you need the colorless, so you need to devote your deck to having colorless outlets.
Yeah.
Chin Limited, I mean, they've got the Eldrazi spawns make colorless. Something to note. So in an Eldrazi deck, this seems okay, but just anywhere else, probably avoid the card in Commander.
Yeah, it's like medium. Like unless you're playing a bunch of colorless Eldrazi stuff anyway.
I think that changes us to the next page. We'll switch to our segments. I will do my chain combo.
What's your jank combo?
This time it's not really like an infinite I win combo, but I think it's going to be pretty neat. We're going to talk about Kudo, King Among Bears again, making your guys 2/2s. Kind of alluded to it before, but the combo that you can run in this in a commander deck is Elishnorn, the old one. That would just wipe your opponent's boards. All your guys become 4/4s, and then you can probably swing out from there.
Yeah,
I
that's
think
pretty
those
good.
two
Your opponents
cards.
can't catch creatures without killing Elishnorn then.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I just thought it was a nifty little combo.
It's a funny combo.
Hmm.
All right, my crazy card this week is Time Sifter. It's at the beginning of each player's upkeep. At the beginning of each upkeep, each player exiles a top card of their library. The player who exiled the card with the highest converted mana cost takes an extra turn after this one. If 2 or more players are tied for the highest cost, repeat this process until the tie is broken. So it's a 5 mana artifact. Every upkeep, everyone exiles the top card of their deck. Whoever is the highest gets an extra turn after this. Heck yeah! It's crazy.
Put this in
Giving
your
out
high
free turns like candy.
Yeah, unless you have the biggest stuff.
Yeah, but even if you do, you're probably going to hit a land eventually.
Eventually, yeah. Yeah, that's a silly card.
And what's hilarious is it's every upkeep. So it could be like, oh, well, I won on your turn. So now after your turn, it's my turn. And we'll do that again. And then you have to remember whose turn it is because it's going to keep doing that.
So confusing.
So the turn cycle is going to get all wonky.
Oh, man. You got to put like a divider or something like, okay, it was going to be Corey's turn next, but now it's my turn. So I got to remember that it will be Corey's after. But wait, someone else got an extra turn.
So wait, will you ever, if you're big commander, will you ever even go to the...
Only if you destroy the time sifter. That's when
if you destroy the time sifter or like whose turn it was next happened to hit it.
Mm-hmm.
And they get 2 turns.
Ridiculous.
Whatever. Basically just changes the turn order to random turns.
Yeah. That's silly. All right, you're up.
All right, next up we got Abstruse Appropriation.
Yep.
2 black and a white for an instant. As devoid. Exile target non-land permanent. You may cast that card for as long as it remains exiled, and you may spend colorless mana as though it were mana of any color to cast that spell. So only colorless can be used as any color.
Yep. So then you can hit in your black-white deck. You can cast any spell. Seems really good.
As long as you have colorless mana.
I mean,
like your Sol Ring will tap for.
It has to be colorless mana?
Yeah, it says you may spend colorless mana as though it were mana of any color. Not all mana, just colorless mana.
Ooh. Okay, that makes it a lot worse.
Yeah, so it's exile something, and then you, at some point, might get to cast it. If you draw your Sol Ring or something.
I guess it's just a strictly better under end, though. Remember Utter End?
Yeah, it's still better than Utter End, which exiles non-land permanent. Because you have the upside of possibly being able to cast the thing.
It's a lot of colorless. Oh, man.
Well, unless it was a black or white thing, then it doesn't matter because you have black and white. Because you just have to pay the mana cost, right? So you just need the colorless for the colors you don't have.
Oh, true. Okay.
So if it's one of the 3 other colors.
Okay, so you can still spend, like, say I hit the Rhystic Study. The 2 colorless from the Rhystic Study, I can pay any color.
Right, the blue you'd have to spend colorless mana
need a colorless mana.
Yeah.
Okay, that's not as bad as I thought.
I mean, unless you have, like, Exotic Orchard and your opponent has a blue out, then that would work too.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah, you don't need to spend the whole thing needs to be
right. It's just if you don't have that mana color, you can only spend colorless mana.
Okay, this is much better than I thought. All right. Yeah, I think I like it a lot then.
Like, it just has the chance that you might not be able to cast the thing.
Yes.
Still pretty good.
Yeah.
I mean, I've
cool
definitely
card.
played over Utter End.
Yeah, it's got only upside.
Yeah.
All right, move on to Devourer of Destiny. 5 colorless for 7 drop. 6/6 Eldrazi. You may reveal this card from your opening hand. If you do, at the beginning of your first upkeep, look at the top 4 cards of your library. You may put one of those cards back on top of your library and exile the rest. And when you cast this spell, exile target permanent that's 1 or more colors.
So the reveal opening hand thing is kind of dumb, in my opinion.
Dumb? Yeah.
Yeah, but the other cards that you don't put back on, like, so you put your best one on top, so you know your next draw. You set that up.
Yep.
But the other 3 get removed from the game. So, like, what if you hit 2 good things? That thing's just not in your game anymore.
Yeah. Might be the risk worth taking to always have like a whatever you're going for. Maybe like I'm a green deck and I need Birds of Paradise like right away. So I'll find that mana dork for sure.
I mean, if it was in the top 4.
If it's in the top 4, right. I think that's still good if looking, but you're holding a 7 mana card in your hand, which is pretty dead card anyway.
Yeah, and you're telling your opponent that you have it too, which
Mm-hmm.
then they know you could exile something later when
Pretty
you play the
telegraphed.
7
Yeah.
mana. It's I don't know. It's okay. I definitely like the 7 mana 6/6 exile something. That's pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
The reveal part is the part that I'm like, I'd almost rather just draw it later in the game.
Yeah. It's definitely the callback to like the Annex cards. I think they're
Mm-hmm.
called Annex of Century. No. Those
Well,
other.
there's like the blue Sphinx
Mm-hmm.
and stuff like that.
My
But like the blue Sphinx is better because like if you open your hand, you just like scry 3. Like I'd rather do that than this.
yeah. What it's called, but my buddies played the white one, which was pretty insane. It's like counter the first spell unless they pay an extra 2, which
Yeah, that one's good.
really slowed down the
That's played
game.
in Legacy Reanimator.
Yeah. So yeah, you gotta be playing colorless cards, which is diluting your deck unless you're in there. So I don't know.
Next up, we got Disruptor Flute. 2 mana artifact with flash. When enters the battlefield, you choose a card name. Spells with the chosen name cost 3 more to cast. And activated abilities and sources with the chosen name can't be activated unless they're mana abilities.
So a pithing needle.
Pithing Needle that also makes those spells cost 3 more.
Yeah.
You could just play it on turn 1 and name Sol Ring, and everyone's Sol Ring now it costs 4 mana.
Yeah. I don't think that's a big part. It's
They
just
can still
another
tap
pithing
it.
needle. I don't know.
It's kind of weird because you could use it as either one, right? Like, because you could be like, all right, it costs 3 more, and then, or you could like Pithing Needle it at when it's on the stack. Like, so, because like you're not, like, if you do it and like, and you know it's in their hand, they're just not going to cast it. Like, because it's shutting it off. So, like, if you were like Jace the Mind Sculptor, like, they're just not going to cast their Mind Sculptor because A, they're not going to pay 7, and B, if they did, they can't cast it or can't use it. So,
Yeah.
that's why it's weird because it's kind of like I can either make your thing cost more if I know you have it, or I could shut it off. So it's a little bit weird. Doesn't really go together that well.
Yeah. And I would just rather play the 1-drop Pithing Needle if I wanted this effect.
Right, if you wanted that effect. So then it's how good is 2 mana make your thing cost 3 more?
I don't think
instant speed Pithing Needle. Is it worth an extra mana?
I guess instant speed is pretty decent, yeah. So they can play out their Jace the Mind Sculptor in response. They get an uptick though, or use an ability.
Unless you do it on the stack before it comes into play.
Ooh, true. Okay, so it's kind of like a counter spell. Instant speed worth it for an extra mana? Possibly. Flash is pretty good. I don't know. I'll have to see it played, I guess. We'll move on to Echoes of Eternity. 3 colorless. So 6 mana for a kindred enchantment. Eldrazi, because it's a kindred enchantment. If a triggered ability of your colorless spell you control or another colorless permanent you control triggers, that ability triggers an additional time. Whenever you cast a colorless spell, copy it. You may choose new targets for that copy. Insane in the colorless deck, but who's playing colorless decks?
Our friend Nick.
Our friend Nick. Yep, this is going to be so funny there. Just making multiple.
It's also going to be pretty good at my Surge Injure deck.
Okay. I mean, I love buffing colorless decks because you're already hurting yourself a lot. So, and this is not going to go in a 5-color deck for sure.
Right.
Ooh, your Soul Ring triggers an additional time. Like that is not worth 6 mana enchantment. That
Well, you just get a copy of Soul Ring because that's not a trigger.
oh, it's triggered and it's not activated ability. Okay,
Yeah.
that's still fine.
So
Yeah.
you would just play this first,
Yep.
then your Soul Ring, get two of them.
It's going to be cool there, but most
I mean,
people are not going to
it's
like it.
good for sacking foods.
Hey,
Get 6 life. Good for sacking
true.
clues. You get 2 cards.
Yep. Triple colorless.
Yeah, you're probably playing this in a colorless deck at that point.
Love the card though.
It's kind of a niche card, but it's really good in the where it's played.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Next up, we got Emrakul, The World Anew. It's 12 mana for a 12/12 legendary creature Eldrazi. When you cast this spell, gain control of all creatures target player controls. Flying, protection from spells, and from permanents that were cast this turn. And when Emrakul World Anew leaves the battlefield, sacrifice all creatures you control. And as if you didn't want to pay the 12 because you were going to cheat it anyway, but you still want the cast trigger here, you could just madness it and then pay 6 colorless.
Yeah. That seems pretty insane. Definitely the worst Emrakul I'm thinking of the three.
I don't know. It might be bad. I might be better than the take an extra turn one.
Mm, doesn't
Not
have
like not
annihilation.
like the OG, but the one where like you take your opponent's turn
Take your opponent's turn.
and
Okay.
then they get an extra turn after that.
Yeah.
Like
I
because
don't
it's
know.
like you only mess them up a little bit with that. This is more win the game than that. I think.
True.
Like this is you get their whole board.
You need to pay 12 though for that, or Madness 6 colorless, which is it's colorless mana again.
If you're
Uh,
trying to cheat one in, you're still going to use the OG one.
yeah, yeah, 100%.
Granted, you can't play that in Commander, so then you'd have to play this one.
I don't know. Doesn't seem that crazy, but it's fun.
I think the chance to discard it and play it for 6 seems cool.
Yeah, yeah, that's going to open up a lot of windows. I think that's where you want to try to do this card.
But you're definitely going to still need a colorless deck because you have 6 colorless mana.
Exactly. Which discard outlets
It's
and
also
color.
weird that it says pay 6 colorless like that and not just putting 6 colorless mana symbols
hmm Yeah,
there. Like, it's so weird.
that's the new way though.
I guess.
Welcome to Magic in 2024.
Yeah. I don't know. It's cool. It's an Emrakul. It's gonna be fun to play. It's a big thing.
Love seeing these Eldrazi's, but still. We'll move on to Kozilek's Command. X, colorless. For a Kindred instant Eldrazi. Choose 2, target player creates X01 colorless Eldrazi spawns, which you can sack them to add colorless, or target player scries X, then draws a card, or exile target creature with mana value X or less, or exile up to X target cards from graveyards. That's nice that I can do multiple graveyards in one card.
Yeah, I've played this in limited a few times. You almost always just choose exile a creature
Yep.
and make a bunch of spawns.
Yes, that makes sense. It's a lot of tokens. Being able to remove something is nice. On
Yeah,
the
I mean, being able to remove something and then get a bunch of spawns to play something big next turn is really good.
yeah, being able to nab a graveyard at instant speed though is no joke.
Yeah, that could be good, especially in Commander if someone's playing Reanimator.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Seems awesome, but colorless again. So it's like, I don't know how you can fit these in decks.
Yeah, I mean, this one's not that hard. It's 2 colorless, which is
Mm-hmm.
possible.
Yeah, I can see it.
just harder.
Since the next spell, you don't like those 3 drops we were looking at before. Like you need to play those on turn 3.
Yeah, like this, you don't really
Where,
have to play on curve because you could
yeah,
play this and where X is like 8, and you're saying,
yeah,
okay, exile anything, get 8 spawns. Next turn, I can play
Mhm.
2 big things.
Yep. Spawns are good too. They're almost like treasure.
Yep. Next up, we got Actual Kozilek, the Broken Reality. It is 9 mana for a 9/9 legendary Eldrazi. When you cast this spell, up to 2 target players each manifest 2 cards from their hands. For each card manifest this way, you draw a card. And then other colorless creatures you control get +3/+2. So this is really good if you played the command first and have a bunch of Eldrazi's spawns, and they all get +3/+2.
Yep. Yep.
Um, so I think most time you're just going to let your opponent do it, right? So that you draw 4.
Yeah. Unless you have those cards, I'd like to manifest a couple cards. Like that's free value.
What's
You
that?
still draw. You still draw the cards if you manifest 2 cards from your own hand. Say it
Right?
was.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. So you're going to manifest 2 creatures because you can turn it up then,
Yep. Yep.
and then they're going to manifest whatever, and then you're
Mhm.
going to draw 4.
You'll draw 4. Yep.
Or you could just do you draw 2 and manifest whatever. But I feel like the draw 4 is better.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like
You
I'll
want to
let
draw
them
some
manifest
cards.
some stuff, whatever. They just have to
Yeah.
spend mana to flip it if it's a creature.
Yeah. I think drawing the cards is worth giving your opponent 2 manifests.
Mm-hmm.
Which in a way they have to manifest. You can almost, if you have like kill spells in a way, you kind of just like you get them.
Mm-hmm.
Seems kind of funny. Elish Norn again is out. All right, manifest 2 things. Oh, they die.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's not the strongest one, but still
It's
cool.
good.
It's
It's
good.
also good in a colorless deck because it buffs all
Yeah.
colorless creatures.
Yeah.
This is also one where, like, if you just cheated it in, you wouldn't really care. Like, you didn't draw the cards, but it buffs your board still. So,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. All right, we'll move on to the real winner of the Eldrazi Titans. Ulamog, the Defiler. 10 mana, 7/7, legendary Eldrazi. When you cast this spell, target opponent exiles half their library, rounded up. Ward, sacrifice 2 permanents. Ulamog enters the battlefield with a number of +1/+1 counters on it equal to the greatest mana value among cards in exile. And then Ulamog has Annihilator X, where X is the number of +1/+1 counters on it.
so you get rid of half of somebody's library, and then whatever
Yeah,
the most expensive thing in there is. So it's probably going to be like a 6 drop or something
at
like that.
least, yeah. I would say 6 drop.
So it's going to be like a 13/13 or 9 or 6 most time.
Yep. Yeah,
It's pretty
this
good.
is the clear winner. It's already showing in price. I think this is up to like $35 right now.
Nice. Oh, I like all the Ulamogs, so this is another good one.
Hmm. This one's the clear winner from this set. I gotta say, but it just seems so fun. Who
Is it
doesn't
better
love it?
than the other Ulamog, though?
Hmm.
Or doesn't the other one just exile 2 permanents? That's
Mm-hmm.
pretty sweet.
Mm-hmm. And already has Annihilator on it.
Yeah.
This you can get a little cheeky with it if you got it into play, you snuck it into play, and then you somehow put +1/+1 counters on it. You can make the Annihilator bigger.
Mm.
Doesn't care about like that specific thing
Well,
you
or
want.
if you exiled something earlier, like if you
Mm-hmm.
swords or something.
Oh my gosh, yeah, that's also funny. Dang. Yep. Hilariously awesome.
All right, now we have Winter Moon. 2 mana for an artifact. Players can't untap more than 1 non-basic land on their untap steps.
It's not as strong as the old Winter Orb.
No,
So it
but
just cares about non-basic lands.
yeah. I mean, Commander, that's their best lands usually.
Yeah, but they still untap their cradle.
Yeah, just the one though.
Yeah, but that's all they.
Right. I mean, you
I
can
get.
hose decks that don't play very many basics. Like I play some
Yes.
5-color decks that only
Oh
play
yeah.
like 5 basics.
Greedy 5-color decks. Yeah, this is gonna be great.
But
Which
yeah, it's kind of like a sideboard card more than a main deckable card.
it's like you run Winter Orb over this. Do you need a second one with Winter Orb too? You're usually comboing with it. You tap the Winter Orb because it
Right.
doesn't, and you get on tap all of your stuff. So no, it's like a secondary option, but you're still not even doing it the right way. It's
Right.
just there's better cards that are like this, I think. Or move on to the Monumental Henge. For a land, enters battlefield tapped unless you control planes. Tap for planes. You can pay 2 white, tap it, look at the top 5 cards of your library. You may reveal a historic card from among them and put it into your hand. Put the rest on bottom of your library in a random order. Card draw on white.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
It's like a whole cycle of these. So
Yeah. I think all of this whole cycle is going to be bomb. Killer.
the blue one here is next spell you cast this turn is improvise.
Mm-hmm.
And the black one is connives X, or X number of creatures that died this turn.
I think that's going to be the weakest one here. I think
This red one might be too. I mean, exert it to add 2 reds if it's a creature spell, it gains haste.
haste is pretty good. Like I'm saying, that Atali deck, something you really need something with haste.
But you're spending 2 mana to add 2 mana just to get
Yeah,
haste.
I mean you're not gaining any mana. You're just getting
Yeah,
the haste, and you're losing mana on this because you're exerting it.
yeah.
But haste, I've played that colorless Boros land to give haste. There's also a tapped like barbarian land or something that gives haste. Like those are very playable cards. This just might be better because it can. There's a possibility it comes in untapped, and for color.
And then the green one is delirium. Becomes a copy of target permanent card in your graveyard. That's actually pretty sweet.
That is the most nuts of them all. I think this is going to be absolutely broken in like Legacy. Someone's going to find something crazy with this because you just self mill and boom, you have something
Yeah.
nuts.
I mean, I could play this in Carador and just be like, all right, I have a 4 mana Archon.
Archon of Cruelty attack. Yeah, dude, that's insane. Insane.
Like I'll Buried Alive and then activate this.
This can become a Dark Depths with no counters on it.
It can do that too.
4 mana.
You just have to have 4 card types.
You're already self milling. Like,
Probably gonna get it.
I think it's insane. Shifting
Yeah.
Woodland is going
I
to
think
see.
Shifting Woods is the best one.
Yeah, for sure. This is going to see like hardcore Legacy play, I'm guessing. The other ones are going to be like cool and Commander. Definitely want mono white to draw some cards. Arena of Glory, I think, is going to be a sleeper. Like some decks, you really need haste. The others are kind of meh. We got our last card, Ugin's Labyrinth. It's a land, has imprint. When it enters the battlefield, you may exile a colorless card with mana value 7 or greater from your hand. And you can tap for a colorless. If a card is exiled with this way, add 2 instead. And you can, another activated ability, tap it, return the exiled card to its owner's hand. Ooh. I really realize.
Taps for 2 colorless, you put something big under it, and then later in the game, if you want the thing, just put it back in your hand.
Broken?
They go to blow it up, you just tap it, put it back in your hand.
Broken?
I don't know if it's broken. Like, it could just be a waste if you don't have like CFC 7 or greater when you cast it.
Yeah.
Or when you play the land.
Close. Ancient Tomb is pretty insane as a card.
Yeah. And this
feel
is
like
an ancient tomb if you just need something mana value 7 or greater.
Yeah.
It's definitely good in a closed deck. I play it. Like,
Yeah. I don't know. Isn't this price tag like crazy right now? I think people are freaking out about this card. I'm not sure how we can see why.
I mean, it just adds two. Like, I mean, if
Yeah.
you think about it, just the chance to have an ancient tomb that doesn't ping you is really good.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm looking at it right now and it's going for $75 for the base card.
Jeez.
So there's something to this. Like Ancient Tomb is strong. Yes,
Yeah.
don't get me wrong. But there's got to be some sort of like old school deck legacy is that is like going nuts with this. So if you open this, congratulations.
Right.
All right, that is about it for doing it of Modern Horizons.
Yeah. I mean, I guess what you could do too is if you have this in your hand, you could just hold it
Yeah.
and you draw a 7 mana card. And I
But you
think
need
it's going to
to
be
pop off.
really good in modern and constructed though, because
Yeah.
just playing it, you just play an Ugin under it. Like when you have like 4 copies of
Mhm.
Ugin, like,
Mhm.
and then pay 2, get all my stuff out faster. It's like almost
Mhm.
like having an Urzatron right away, or the
Yeah,
Eldrazi
Tron.
Temple.
You have your Karn, who's perfect 7. That's what you want to do with Tron.
Yeah.
All right. 6/6 set.
Pretty
Been
sweet set. Remember, if you want to pick up any of these cards, please use our TCG Player affiliate link, which is in the show notes and on our website, mtgplace.net.
Yeah, and you can help support our show at patreon.com. We have different tiers of involvement to get you different perks. Also, come hang out with us by joining our Discord down below and just talking with us.
Yeah, and don't forget to hit like and subscribe. Be notified of all our videos and podcasts when they're released. We got some cool videos coming out, a lot of Modern Horizons 3 drafts coming. Thanks for listening, and goodbye, everybody.
Peace.